Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy. Just further proof that when they decided to buy Star Wars, they actually have never seen it, heard of it. They probably have heard of it. They probably never actually watched the movies with Disney here. When they decided to buy Star Wars, I think they forgot that Star Wars were not like Disney movies. They forgot that Star Wars wasn't a Disney movie. Star Wars, Galaxy Edge, cast members avoid Younglings because of the child murders. You know what? Oh, the only really good part of the trilogy, in my opinion, where you actually saw Anakin not portrayed as kind of a whiny little child, but as a bad villain because he's supposed to be. You're supposed to be afraid of him. You're supposed to be afraid of the guy who goes around killing children. That is why he's the bad guy. That's why he's scary. That's why he's intimidating. That was one of the few things I actually did right with Anakin's character in the prequels, in my opinion. But no, Disney wants to censor any mention of the word younglings from the cast members because what? They forgot that happened in the movie? They just forgot about that, you know? They forgot, oh yeah, that has a bad guy in it. And just because they're incapable, in my opinion, of producing a viable bad guy with Kylo Ren, who looks more like he's like the mopey, he's like the Twilight vampire of the Star Wars universe, right? He's like the little mopey emo thing that the little girls are supposed to have a crush on. Whatever, I get it, it's fine. Disney has made it very clear that Disney Star Wars is not for Star Wars fans who grew up with the original trilogy in the 80s. I get it. Disney doesn't want us there because we're those toxic fans. We're those man babies. You know what, though, Disney? If you guys are so fragile and sensitive that you can't deal with something that happens in something you bought, maybe you guys are the fragile little man babies. I don't know, because you guys call us names all the time, from anybody employed in the whole Disney Star Wars universe, you know, people like Rian Johnson, to this the attitude that comes from the top down, really, when dealing with Star Wars fans. We're those people. And definitely check out my one of my old videos where it does kind of dive into the glass door controversy from Lucasfilm employees rating their company that they worked for or work for currently. And you'll hear sort of stories like, yes, it comes from management. Those people, management doesn't know what they're doing. Management had to be explained how to drag and drop things. They don't understand the property. You know, the people at Lucasfilm, the people at Disney, I think they don't understand. I don't think they've seen the movies that they work on. I really don't. And the fact that Disneyland just wants to censor this, I get why they want to do it. I also don't get, why would you buy Star Wars when you just don't understand it? You really don't. Same thing goes with like Star Trek with CBS and Bad Robot and all those people. Why make something you don't understand and you don't like and you don't want, basically? A guest to Disneyland's newly opened Star Wars Galaxy Edge reports cast members playing Star Wars characters at Disney's Black Spire Outpost don't use the word younglings because of the child murder in Star Wars Episode 2 Revenge of the Sith. There are a few bigger Star Wars fans than the movie, than YouTuber Jenny Nicholson, who's already been to Galaxy's Edge twice. Gee, that would be nice if somebody sent me a ticket for it. Including visit prior to May 31st official opening, because she probably shilled for it. I'm not gonna lie. Usually when you get early access to these things, you're invited because you're going to say nice things about Star Wars. This is why I don't get invited places, and I have to use GoFundMes to get to the conventions, because I am not going to kiss the butt of the corporate overlords on any of this. I'm not going to shill for you unless I genuinely believe that your property is something I can get behind. And that's how it should be. I'm going to call out when properties that I grew up with, that I love, are crapping on legacy characters, fans, etc., and showing preferential treatment to other ones. So, and I'm not going to click on her link. I don't want to be you just forget the fact that I'm just going to assume she's a shill. I'm going to assume that because, in my opinion, people who are allowed access to these things tend to do so. Just look at the Christian Harloff Collider controversy that I really haven't been covering much on the channel. Go watch us talk about it on Midnight's Edge After Dark. We've talked about it a few times over there. And yeah, a lot of the time these are access media. You know, they are in the media for access to the products. They're in the media because they're either failed comedians, they're failed actors, something. They know a little bit about the fandoms, and then they get on YouTube or these sort of podcasts, these media outlet podcasts, and then they get really butthurt when they don't get access early to these events, when they don't get invited or when they get disinvited because they said something bad about the mouse. And that's where we're at in this day and age with this stuff. And that's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm pointing this out too. A Disney World version of Galaxy's Edge will open in Orlando, Florida in August. Nicholson shared impressions of the park on Twitter, where she pointed out the number of characters and creatures populating the new Star Wars theme park, including the Dianoga from the Death Star trash compactor. Oh my god, I can't even pronounce that. And the sewers of Coruscant. Why do I want to go through the sewers of Coruscant? I mean, yeah, I guess I would. Don't get me wrong. Star Wars, man, I grew up with it. And Rocking Horse's Mondo after the Canto Bites Racing. Oh, you mean the ones, the Last Guardian. Trico from Last Guardian. That's what they were modeled after. They were stolen from Last Guardian. That's what they look like. So no, they're not Rocking Horse's modeled after the thing that they stole from The Last Guardian. In my opinion. Nicholson also praised Galaxy's Edge's expansive. Of course, she's got a verified checkmark. Of course she does. Many of whom had elaborate backstories for how their characters ended up in Black Spire Outpost, a rough and tumble spaceport on the planet Outer Rims, planet of Batuu. Think of it more as a jungly Mos Eisley from the original Star Wars. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks really fun. It looks fun enough if you're a Star Wars fan. I don't know if I like Disney Star Wars enough to spend that kind of cash to go. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, if they want to send me a free pass, I will gladly go and probably point out what's good and what's bad, but I don't think I would be going myself because I just can't justify that kind of going into debt for something like Star Wars. I forgot to put this on my list. According to Jenny Nicholson, she says, the other best part of Star Wars Land was the cast members who were very into it, doing space hairdos and makeup. I saw a lot of rainbow highlighter. Rainbow highlighter? What do you mean rainbow highlighter? Is it like the 80s? People didn't have rainbow hair in Star Wars until Vice Admiral Gender Studies. I mean Holdo. Telling you the lore, making up their own OCs. It's extremely... where'd it go? And remembering you when you come back. Of course I clicked on it. Remembering you come back. Where did I find extremely? I don't know where I found that. But one interaction with Galaxy's Edge cast member reveals extensive preparation and forethought that goes into being a cast member at Disneyland's new Star Wars attraction. While speaking with a costume cast member, Nicholson discovered that cast members have been instructed against using the word Younglings, a generic term for children in the Star Wars galaxy. So even though it's just a generic term for the kids in the Star Wars galaxy, like they weren't... I would say, I would avoid talking about the slaughtering of the younglings around children in Star Wars, but at the same time, I grew up in the 80s with, like, Secret of Nim, okay? I grew up with The Neverending Story. We had some pretty terrifying kids' movies as a kid, so I'm probably judging it on a different standard than today's very soft, fragile mentality. It's not just children, it's adults, too. A lot of people today have very, very soft mentalities. I'll just put it in very fragile mentalities. Also, a cast member said, kids. I jokingly said, oh, younglings? Then she blindsided me by telling me they're already scrubbing younglings from the vocab. Parents didn't like it because one of the only times you hear it in the movies is in the phrase, killing younglings. Fair. It may sound like an arbitrary stricture, but apparently cast members' rule is grounded in a pivotal moment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. The term younglings is most often used in the Star Wars movies, reference to trainees in the Jedi Temple who aren't old enough to be a Padawan apprentice to a Jedi Master. Yoda is seen instructing younglings in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, but the younglings likely evokes a very different scene to anyone familiar with the prequels. Well, here's the thing. How many Star Wars fans nowadays have even seen all the Star Wars movies? That's a genuine, legit question. How many of these people have even seen them more than once? legitimately curious, because a lot of the people who are Star Wars fans are, it's Star Wars, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong for how they consume their fan or their products, their franchises, right? Just Star Wars is one of those things. It's got such a huge brand appeal. You're going to have a lot of people who only saw the original trilogy show up to this. You're going to have a lot of people who don't know the expanded universe. I don't know a lot of the expanded universe stuff, because I'm a movie and TV sort of person when I get into these, and anything else just feels like homework. I don't want to do homework on Star Wars. I don't want to have to read a book to have a movie make sense. And that's kind of where we're at with this. And there's many different levels of fandom. So by scrubbing the word younglings, or the term younglings, it just feels so off-putting, the censorship of it. I can understand kind of why they did it, because you don't want Disneyland associated with child murder. I totally get that. But then again, my original point, why did you buy the IP? Why did you buy the IP if you didn't like elements of it? If you want to just come in and censor it all? I don't know. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video, is the censorship of Star Wars. Is Star Wars being censored? Is it being completely changed and destroyed and covered up and sanitized? And that's the big word here. Is Disney sanitizing Star Wars by censoring the word younglings? Like, what's the next thing they're going to do? Are they going to cut it out of the film? If they're already sanitizing this, where does this stop? Because George Lucas has reimagined and re-edited and refilmed scenes from the original trilogy so many times. Every time something else happens, he'll sprinkle in something else, something new. Even in Return of the Jedi, now we have Hayden Christensen standing at the end of Return of the Jedi as a Force ghost. So we have to kind of put our foot down and say, you know what? Stop censoring it. It's in the movie. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. Like, I guess I'm on the side of little kids might not have seen that scene, or might not be able to comprehend why it's a big deal. I don't think we should censor it. I really don't think they should censor it. That's my opinion. I totally agree that with their choice to on this one, though. But if it were me, I probably wouldn't censor it. I would probably just let kids be a little more tough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am Mecha Random 42, P.O. Box 1566, Loveland, Colorado 80539. And as always, I will see you on the next video, live stream, over on Midnight's Edge After Dark, on Creepy Little Book, or wherever. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!